Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a quick comparison, basically give my opinion between the EOTech and the different Holosun red dots. Okay, the reason why I'm picking these two for comparison is EOTech is considered by many top of the line military grade, and the Holosun is considered by many top of the line civilian grade. So I thought it would be a good comparison. I did a video about 6 months ago, so maybe 7 months ago, where a friend of mine had lent me his EOTech for about a week. I did some shooting with it, and I did an initial impressions video on that. Since then, I've shot it a few more times on other people's rifles, and it did not convince me to go buy that. Okay, I've bought lots of optics since then. All of them have been Holosun, and basically I want to share my opinion with you as to why. Now, here's the thing to understand: if you're gonna basically say, hey, tomorrow you're going into combat, okay, you're gonna actually be fighting people, yeah, I would take the EOTech, and the reason is there's only one reason. That bigger window. There's a big advantage to that bigger window, especially if you're moving or if you're in a moving vehicle, if you're shooting off of the truck, if you're shooting out of a helicopter. In those type of situations, you have a major advantage. I have here two optics. Okay, this one is the Holosun 507C. This is intended for a pistol, although I like mounting it on my AR pistols. This one's a little bit smaller than this one over here. This is the Holosun 503CU. This is the tube style. This has a slightly bigger view. This one is the 65 MOA circle plus the dot. That one's a 32 MOA circle plus dot. On this one over here, I keep it circle only. Okay, I don't bother with the dot on that one. This one I keep 65 MOA circle plus dot. I see a significant difference from this optic, the smaller optic, to the larger one. Not in terms of me, but when I'm training new shooters, especially women, who I'll tell them to shoulder the rifle, right, bring it up, into their chest, put their face on the gun. Despite the instructions that you might give to people who are brand new, what they will usually do is instead of putting the stock into their chest, they'll put it into their bicep. Okay, they'll bring it into their bicep, and then they'll probably won't even put their face on the gun, and then they're gonna tell you that they can't see the circle that you're talking about. Okay, so usually you gotta tell them to bring it more towards the center, face on the gun, and at some point they'll see it. Now, same exact situation. Okay, with a slightly larger tube over here, right? You'll tell them, bring it up, put the stock into your chest, right? Again, instead of bringing it into the chest, they'll pull it into their bicep, right? And then they won't touch their face to the gun. But what they will usually tell me is that they can see that 65 MOA circle just because this is a little bit bigger, okay? And, of course, from that point, I'll tell them to put it more towards the chest, face on the gun. Everything goes great. But the important thing here is that, that information that I'm getting out of these new shooters, where when they're not in the proper position, they're able to see the slightly larger optic, the reticle, the slightly larger optic better than the smaller one. Okay? So if you give them an even bigger one, like the EOTech, they're going to see it even better. Okay, so if you're in a really bad situation where, let's say your arm is wounded, let's say your right arm's wounded, so you're in your left arm, you're coming up one-handed, maybe you're carrying something over your back, you're gonna have an easier time coming up and finding that circle dot with the bigger window of the EOTech. Okay, so that was the big advantage that I saw. Now the EOTech is holographic versus the red dots. The red dots basically have an emitter that project onto the glass over here, and you're seeing a reflection off of the glass. If the glass comes out, you're not going to see any. You're not going to see the reticle. With the EOTech, which is holographic, if you completely remove the glass, you're still going to see the image. Okay, so it doesn't depend on the glass to catch that reflection and to catch that image and reflect it back to you. For my purposes, for me as a shooter, right, it makes no difference. I mean, I don't care if I'm using a red dot or a holographic; they do the same thing. I personally prefer the red dot, or in this case, circle dot, better. It's a much more crisp image. I personally like it. The EOTech is a little bit more grainy, which I can get used to. Again, that's not a deal breaker. The fact that it's grainy, that, like I said, has the advantage of the bigger window. The fact that it's holographic really doesn't mean anything to me. Okay. So the problem with what do you call it, the EOTech, the big problem to me, the reason why I haven't bought one is battery life. Okay, I want a rifles that I can basically just put in my safe, pick them up, don't have to turn them on, don't have to worry about the battery, and I know they're just gonna work. The Holosuns are great because they're solar powered, plus they have the battery as a backup. On the battery alone, you're going to get something like 5 years out of this. With the solar power, that gets even more extended. So, again, if you were going to take me and tell me that, hey, tomorrow you're going into combat, right? You need to survive that one day, and it's going to be tomorrow. Yeah, you know what? I'll take the advantage of the bigger window. Okay. If it's a situation where I don't know when I'm going to have that kind of a situation over the next, 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years, I would rather have an optic that I know that the battery is going to be working. Or if the battery is not working, I have the it's solar powered, so at least in the daytime I'll be able to see just from the solar power. So to me, that's how I kind of weigh this. Okay, if I know I'm going into combat tomorrow, yes, I'll take the EOTech, bigger window, combat tested. Sure, because I know I'm going to be using it that way tomorrow. But if it's like a home defense situation where I don't expect to ever be in a combat type of situation, it's, basically, but if I ever am, which might be some point in the future, maybe far future, I want to know that battery is going to be working, because I'm not going to remember to change the battery every month or 2 months, because with the EOTech, you get, if you have it on a high setting, you get something like 600 hours. If it's like on a medium setting or low setting, maybe you'll get 1,500 hours. I mean, these Holosuns will go something like 50,000 hours. Okay. Now, I believe the AimPoint has an advantage in the battery life. That'll give you, I think, 80,000 hours, but you get a dot only. Okay, so it's kind of like a cost-benefit thing there. Yeah, I'm getting a longer battery life, but with the having a dot only, I'm losing the advantage of having a circle. This one having that 32 MOA circle, that gives me a big advantage in fast target acquisition. This one has that 65 MOA circle. Again, come up, I can find it really fast. So it's kind of like a cost benefit. Out to about 5 years, my emphasis would be on battery life. Okay, I want battery life. If you're gonna go past that, if you give me an AimPoint, you can say, okay, this one will give you 8 years. Yeah, but I'm only getting a dot now. So I would rather go 5 years and have that circle dot, right? And then I guess at the end of 5 years or some point in between, I'll change the battery. That's just the way I'm thinking about it. Okay, that's how I'm weighing the cost benefit. So that's why I come back to Holosun for the range shooting that I do, for the possible once in a lifetime type of self-defense application. I think that Holosun will give you a much better value. So that said, how much do I like Holosun? And I've tried lots of other optics. I've tried the SIG. Again, it's like, yeah, it's good, but hey, it doesn't give me that circle dot. It doesn't give me. It's not solar powered. So there's lots of other options out there. But Holosun just gives me the most for my money. So how much do I like it? Oh boy, here you go, guys. Oh, got one primary arms here, so let's throw that one out. That's a lot of them. That's a lot of Holosuns. I'm not even going to count these, but that's a lot of Holosuns. So, I would not have a problem buying an EOTech or an AimPoint like today. I could order it today if I thought that I was really getting something significant for my money. I'm getting a slightly bigger window and really short battery life. Okay, that's with the EOTech. Or let's say with an AimPoint, I'm getting a little bit more battery life, but I'm only getting like a dot, right? So the value is with Holosun. I'm not paid by Holosun, even though I think that they should be paying me. Instead of me paying for these optics, they should be paying me to, tell everybody how good they are. But yeah, that's what it is. I think Holosun right now is the best bang for your dollar. They have lots of different ones. My favorites are the 503 CU, which I have on this rifle. Don't get the 403. 403 is dot only. It's worth paying the extra money to get that 65 MOA circle. You can always shut it off if you don't want to use it. But pay the extra $50. Get the 5 series. Same thing with the pistol dots, right? The 507. Don't get the 407. Get the 507, which has the circle dot. It's really worth having the option of being able to flip it to that circle plus dot or circle only. There's a big advantage in shooting with a circle, especially if you're trying to get on target really fast. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Oh, by the way, there's also another one that I really like, the 503G. That's the one with the ACSS reticle. That's another one. Those are my 3 favorites. Okay, so it's 503CU, 503G with the ACSS, and then the pistol one's the 507. I like green. Whenever I can get green, I like the green ones. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're not a member, please subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon.